Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and ladies, welcome to Tatami Talk. My name is Juan. This is my going partner, Anthony. It's a judo podcast for judo players by two judo players. So, Anthony, how you doing this week?
How you doing?
How I'm doing all right. I was working this week. I had some crazy call times. I actually did was it like a 15, close to 16-hour day on set the other day? Crap. I started work at 10:30 in the morning, and I got off work around 9:48 in the morning.
You're one of the safer people to train with since you get tested so often.
Yeah, well, for my job, I get tested almost every day. Well, every day I work on set, I have to get tested a day before and sometimes a day of. So, and on Friday, I got tested for another job on Monday or Tuesday. I'm working. I can't figure out what day I'm working yet, but I got tested on Friday, and I'm clean right now again, so I'm all good.
Well, I got my power rack came in.
You building your home gym?
Yeah, I don't know if I talked about it last episode, but I wanted to get a pull-up bar originally, but I didn't want to drill holes somewhere because I want to be able to move it if I change my mind on where I want it to be.
Yeah.
And one of those, what they call power bar, not a power rack, but power tower, which is like a dip.
Is it a dip song or what? It
it's like a dip station. At the gym, they have the dip station, the ab leg raise, and the pull up bar. That's a power tower.
It's like what we have at our dojo.
It's not that the price difference between that and a power rack aren't that much different. So, and it takes up around the same space. So I was like, might as well just get a power rack. Though everything's been out of stock, and people who are selling it on Craigslist and OfferUp are charging more. Then they know there's a limited supply, so they're like scalping. Basically.
Okay, all right.
Price scalping.
Are they putting anything like barely used or just brand
new in box? Brand new in box, and
lazy.
They basically you add the shipping and like $100 on top. That's what they're charging usually. Some of them charging double. So I just waited till I've been checking every single day for it to get in stock, and I just ordered it and it came. Now I have to wait for the weights in the bar to come in stock. Because same story with that. Like I was looking for used ones. And with weights, I mean, originally I was just going to buy it off of someone local because with weights, the shipping's what costs the most, right?
Didn't you just buy a bench recently too, or did someone else buy a bench?
No, I need to buy a bench too.
That's your next thing is to buy a bench. Now you get the power bar rack.
They're expensive. Like unless you're getting a flat bench, they're actually pretty damn expensive.
I think I have an extra one at the dojo. You want? I'll sell it to you.
I'll take it.
So let me get this straight. So you bought mats for your house now. Okay, you got like a bunch. You got like what 2-3 mats at your house now.
I have three 5x10 Dollar mats.
Yeah, roller mats. Okay.
Yeah, and I have the Dollar crash mat.
You got the crash mat too now, and now you're got the power rack. Damn. When are you gonna get the throwing dummy?
I'm not gonna get a throwing dummy. I have my wife. So
yeah, like I said, I think it's still a hard no. I bet. It's like you have all these toys, but no one to play with. What's going on?
Well, it's waiting for my knee to get better, which is why I wanted the pull-up bar because everything else you can kind of use resistance band and body weight, but it's kind of hard to do back. Like it's hard to replace pull-ups. Basically, that's one of the hardest things you can do. And there's one thing you can do is get 2 chairs and like a broom and do basically rows, like inverted rows.
The broom snaps on you.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I don't have 2 chairs like that work that way, and I'm kind of heavy, so I don't trust the broom. So
yeah.
So I just it's an investment. Plus, my wife likes to power lift. She just hasn't been able to go to the gym, so she'd get use out of it too. So
but no, that's cool that you both are using it at least. Like she's letting you get all these toys and she's like going to use it with you. That's nice.
Yeah, and I'm sick of waiting at the gym for people to get off the squat rack and all that kind of stuff. So
get off it, wipe it down, set up your own stuff.
Yeah, and someone's waiting for you and you just try and power out all your reps and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it's a good investment anyway, even though I'm kind of overpaying for it. And because if you order everything at once, then you pay less shipping. But because of the short stock, I have to order everything as they come in stock. Then I'm paying extra shipping for everything.
You're gonna have a sick ass gym once you're all done, man. You're gonna have all this crap. Like, who needs a dojo? Just go to Anthony's house.
Well, I want a heavy bag because that's one thing I can do right now is punch. So
yeah, we were talking about that last time. Do you figure out how you wanted to do it or what?
Yeah, I need to find out where to mount the ceiling bracket. I'm kind of nervous about drilling holes if you can't tell, right?
Yeah, I said you get with those standing racks, they're a little more expensive. And I'm always with those standing racks, I'm always scared like kicking the pole, like when I do it.
Well, they take up more space than hanging it off the ceiling. Plus, you can't circle around, and like you said, I'm afraid of kicking the pole. So
yeah,
I used the standing rack at a gym once, and I almost like broke my toe. Yeah. So
yeah.
Anyway,
all right. So last weekend was a really cool day for grappling because Khabib Nurmagomedov defended his title against Justin Gaethje, and Khabib retired. So he has an undefeated record of 29-0 in MMA. So I want to talk about that because people are asking about like how as grapplers, or does everybody have to use BJJ or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Like Khabib went out and did MMA without doing BJJ. Like he trains in BJJ with guys, but he's not like, he doesn't hold a rank. He doesn't claim it. He's a Sambo guy. He's a wrestler.
He's a white belt. I think he's blue belt now. I think he's a white or blue belt.
To me, that's such bull. That is such bull that when I see a really good Sambo player or a really good judo guy that's a black belt or something in judo or holds a high rank in Sambo, and then I go to BJJ school, not me personally, but when I see them go to BJJ school, it's like, oh, okay, well, here's a white belt. And it's like, I think it's at least a blue belt personally, if not a purple, but hey, whatever. That's your guys' deal.
It was like a while ago when I saw him either in a white belt or a blue belt tournament, and there was a clip and he just like threw the crap out of someone.
And then he got DQ'd because he threw him too hard, probably.
No, he didn't get DQ'd, but he did some crazy crap. And I was just like, that's not a white belt. That's not fair. But I mean, if I had a chance to fight Khabib, I would. You know,
that'd be crazy. You're like that guy looks really familiar. Is that Khabib Nurmagomedov? Oh shit, I am super fucked.
I'd sign up. Yeah.
Like I tried looking up what rank he was in judo because I know he has a black belt because there's videos of him training in judo wearing a black belt. The only thing I could find is that he's an international master of sport in Russia. They have those ranking systems out there, but he's an international master of sport in Sambo, judo, and pankration, and hand-to-hand combat. So those are all pretty much all the four same things for the most part, except in judo we don't strike each other.
I was reading some comments on the MMA subreddit on Reddit, and some people are like, "Oh, Khabib's he's just a wrestler mixed in with some BJJ stuff," and I'm just like, he doesn't train BJJ. Like,
yeah, it's like give the devil his due. You know, he's a Sambo guy, he's a judo guy.
Yeah,
and look at the stuff he does. Like, he does stuff that's big in Sambo and judo. He goes for arm bars. He goes for he won by Sankaku. You know, he choked a guy out using triangle choke. That's a judo move right there.
Yeah, I saw some Sambo people pissed off too. Like, why is everything BJJ? Like, you know, like,
well, in the first round when he took him down, he got Gaethje in a not a calf slicer, in a bicep slicer. You know, when he set up the arm bar, he hit him in bicep slicer. I'm sorry, but not a lot of BJJ schools I've gone to or trained with do bicep slicers.
Not even judo.
Like I learned it from wrestling. And then they do it again in catch wrestling that I go to. They do it there for setups for things. But that is not a BJJ thing. That's not even really a judo thing.
Well, I have actually been taught that particular bicep slicer at my club before, but I know it's not very common.
Yeah. But like I said, that's an uncommon thing right there. But what he goes for is simple, straight submissions, arm bar, sankaku. You know, it's just like he's not going for big fancy things. He's not going for these big rolls or I don't know what are some of those rolls called. You know that stuff.
Imari roll.
Yeah, Imari roll. I'm not going for the Imari roll or something. I don't know. But it's like cool. Like he's a 2-time world Sambo champion. You know, undefeated in MMA, and then retired. So he can't fight. You know, his dad's gone. His mom doesn't want him to fight. He's made more than enough money to support his lifestyle and where he lives. He's not a guy that needs all this money or lives a like crazy life, you know? So him retiring with honor like that, it's a great guy. Like I found him very respectful, honorable. That's why I liked him a whole lot.
Well, he said some messed up stuff recently, which I'm not going to get into. People can easily search, but
I let other people search that out. But for the most part, he's an honorable guy. I like him. But Dana did talk this week in the interviews about the fight between he was talking about the Anderson Silva fights, I think it was, and then they asked him about Khabib, and he said, "Oh well, I'm not sure if Khabib's really
you can't trust anything that Dana says."
What do you mean you can't? I take Dana White for what he says like 100%. You know, I believe him.
Well, I'm just upset. Well, I'm not upset. I'm disappointed that Tony versus Khabib will not happen potentially.
That's a cursed fight, man. That fight was just not meant to happen. All right, we had a pandemic for it not to happen. All right.
So I watched the Khabib fight this like past 2 weeks ago with my friends who aren't. I've been trying to get my friends into watching judo and MMA.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the submission. Oh my god, that's a submission you taught us, because I was teaching them triangles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was telling them the story of the whole saga of the Khabib versus Tony, how they tried to fight 5 times, and they just couldn't believe that that's real. Like they're like, that's got to be fake.
Every time something happens. Oh my god, what was But they fell over, like, was it Tony fell over the cord during an interview?
He tripped over a cord. I think that's just a straw that broke the camel's back. Kind of like, you know how in my I ruptured my PCL at a tournament just by falling, right? Essentially a light fall and snapped. Because that was around the same time when they showed videos of him like kicking a steel pole.
Exactly. I remember seeing that. I was like, this guy's gonna break his damn shin.
So my theory is he already messed up his ligaments, and then that trip just kind of like finished it off.
You think he's like, oh, there's a piece of wire right there. I might go trip over that side of the fight.
Yeah. And then the recent fight didn't happen. Well, the matchup didn't happen because he lost the most recent fight. And a lot of people are saying that you know how they canceled the UFC event and Tony cut the weight anyway. Yeah, so he cut weight twice within a month. So people were calling him stupid for that because he looked like drained in the.
Well, he wanted to prove like how much of a man he was, that I can do this.
He's just crazy.
But it was like crazy anyways, because when that fight was going to happen, they like the UFC told Khabib, okay, Khabib, it is like 90% sure, 95% sure that we're going to do this in at Yaz Island. We're going to go over there again, do our fights out there. 90% sure. Khabib was like, all right, I'm gonna get a head start on this. I'm gonna go out there and train. And then he gets there and they tell him, oh no, sorry, we're closing the borders, we're shutting down for the pandemic. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then he can't come back to America from there. Yep. So they had to go to Russia, and then Russia closed their borders as soon as he got there. And it's like, man, it's like one of those things where you just see the walls keep closing in on you the entire time.
But I think Khabib, or that clip of him saying how like him arguing with Henry Cejudo about how judo is like class and wrestling is like awesome, but judo is like up here. Yeah. I think that needs to be promoted more than it already is. Like that's an example of how we promote judo, I think.
Well, it's also he had Kayla Harris right next to him. It's Kayla Harris thing could be picking on Henry Cejudo, telling him like, yeah, your wrestling is good, but our judo's better. You know, it was like, yeah, you may have a gold medal, but she has 2 gold medals, you know. And
Khabib's a wrestler. Champion. He loves wrestling too. Like even he says he loves wrestling, but he has immense respect for judo and sambo, and you can tell from his fighting style is mostly wrestling based. So yeah, it's a lot coming from him. So I feel like, again, they should capitalize on it, but I don't see anyone from any judo associations mentioning it.
Well, it's one of those weird things where, like, I go back to Ronda Rousey. When every time Ronda Rousey fought in UFC, USA Judo would buy a banner. They would either buy a pole on the UFC octagon or they would buy a spot on the mat. Every time she fought, they would buy a spot on the mat. Then when she lost, they stopped sponsoring. They're like, oh, we wash our hands of this. We don't know what you're talking about. Ronda who? What are you talking about, Ronda? Who's a Ronda? We don't know no Ronda. To even though we're Kayla Harris, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist, when she fights in the PFL, I've never seen USA Judo, USJA, or USJF here in America.
Well, that's because of what she said at the dinner, I think.
It could be. It really could be. But you got to sponsor judo. You got to help out judo somehow. But yeah, I've never seen them ever sponsor any of her fights or anything that she does. And then there's that whole thing where the IGF canceled the tournament. I can't remember when it was a while ago now, but it was a tournament in like France or Germany or something, or Great Britain. I can't remember what it was. And the UFC wanted to sponsor the tournament, and the IGF was like, nope, no, you can't do it. They're going to sponsor. Like, no, you can't. We either cancel this tournament or you get the UFC out. And I was like, wow,
old school style thinking.
Yeah. Well, like, there's also that judo here.
They had that partnership with CNN where like Kayla Harrison's story was like on the front page, like, but it wasn't really advertising judo. I think
just advertising her.
If you want to advertise,
They didn't talk about judo.
Judo, like you ever seen those highlight clips on judo that the fans make?
Yeah.
Like all the highlights of the top ippons of 2019 or top ippons of Budapest Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
They should put that on the front page of CNN, and people would be like interested in that because people like watching like street fights and all that kind of stuff all the time.
Oh yeah.
But you put that on the front page of CNN, people are gonna get interested. I guarantee you. But that's not happening.
It's like when I'm at work, like I wear UFC sweaters. I have a Hayabusa backpack I use for my job and stuff. People are like, oh, do you do MMA? It's like, I kind of do MMA. I used to fight MMA when I was younger, you know, but I mostly just focus on judo now. It's like, judo, what's judo? And I'll show them like the highlight videos. I'll put up like, oh, dude, that's crazy. They're throwing people, choking them out. So they're like, oh, is that BJJ? Is that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Is that the jits? And it's like, no, it's not. This is where the jits comes from. This is judo.
Yep.
We focus on throwing and really direct submissions, you know, direct armbar, direct sankaku, you know, direct pins and stuff. Like, oh, that's really cool. And it's like, hey, you guys are okay falling? It's like, you get used to it. When you first start, it's not, but you get used to it after a while. But it's just really cool seeing someone like Khabib go out there, be undefeated, using a sambo and a judo background with wrestling, and it's kickboxing from AKA. I have immense respect for AKA because I'm from the Bay Area. It's actually kind of funny that Javier Mendez and my karate sensei actually trained at the same Tong Sudo dojo back when they were back. Yeah. So I actually trained with Javier back when I was like in high school a few times. But yeah, so it's this weird lineage that I'm connected to AKA in a weird way because AKA is Javier Mendez, trained with my pops, my karate sensei in Tong Sudo. And then he left and became a kickboxer, but they trained together. And if you look at Javier's style, it's still very like, it's American kickboxing, but it's actually it's Tong Sudo if you know what you're looking at and stuff. Yeah. And it's really cool. So whenever I see the AK guys do well, I get happy because it's like, that's like a far limb of my family tree right there of martial arts.
We need a Hollywood top team. That's what we need.
Hollywood top team. Oh man, that'd be funny. So that was great with Khabib going on. So the other news going on this week was the first IGF tournament in who knows how long. People know how long, like what, 9 months now. The first IGF tournament in a while that happened in Budapest. So Anthony, how did you like it? Did you enjoy the tournament?
Well, at first I was kind of nervous about the COVID stuff. I mean, like I think I told you about this, like 4 Italian, not athletes, but 4 people from the team. So they didn't say who. It could be athletes, could be coaches, could be masseuse, trainer, whatever. 4 people got tested positive.
Yes. You should give the Dr. Juan. I would
they got tested positive in Budapest after, so they probably caught it on the plane on the way there or whatever. And a whole Italian team got disqualified from competing just for safety measures. And I mean, I understand. One of the USA judo members got tested positive. They locked him in a hotel with other COVID people.
They locked him in. They put him in there. They put a lock on the door. They shut it in there.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if it's Budapest, but I think a bunch of people on the Georgian team got tested positive too. I read down on Instagram. So
interesting, because there was a lot of Georgian fighters there at the tournament, but the entire team didn't get disqualified.
I don't know. That's why, because I read that news after the tournament ended. So I'm like, wait, did they catch it at the tournament or?
Well, if you compare that to how, like, or in America, of course, and we're in LA, so of course, Dodgers. I'm not a big baseball guy, but one of the Dodgers pitchers, the main pitchers, tested positive for COVID, and they let him play anyways. You know, like, suddenly actually in the ninth inning,
they put him in a little box, which he after they won, he came out and celebrated.
No, he played in the game. He played to like the 8th or 9th inning. I'm not sure. I'm not a baseball guy. Again, guys. I'm a combat guy. They let him play, and then they pulled him. Like, he's positive. We have to pull him. And then when the game ended, he's running back out there, screaming, shouting, pouring all stuff on him. So it's kind of funny.
If the Georgian team got tested positive after an event, that makes you wonder how many of these people caught it and brought it back to their countries now, right? So
and I think that it kind of brings up to another thing so the first day when everyone was training, when everyone was competing, so from the rules state that you have to wear your mask the entire time. The only time you're not allowed to wear a mask is when you're running, eating, or in the warm-up area. When you're in the warm-up area, it's optional. You can wear your mask or not wear your mask. Me personally, I would have worn my mask because everyone's breathing all over the place. And the only place you're allowed to take your mask off is on the mat. So the first day, people would fight. After the match, shake hands, high five, do the fist bump, do all these weird things, hug, do all that normal things. And the tournament, even at the gold medal matches, the bronze matches, like I can't remember which bronze match. I think it was a bronze or gold. I can't remember which one, but they were like just like embrace, like, man, it was a great match. That was fantastic, hugging and stuff, really in each other's face. The next day, no more handshakes, no more hugs, no more hand slaps, nothing. And you get people like they're stutter stepping, they're like, do I shake hand? Do I not shake hand? Do I
fist bump? Like
yeah, because even the first day there were some fighters I noticed that would be like they would go in for the handshake and they'd be like, oh no,
and the refs
put their
like,
hands up. No, I'm talking like on the first day when they were allowed to fist bump and handshake. The first day there'll be some fighters that are like, no, I'm okay. You'd be like,
it's all optics. They're rolling on the ground for 4 minutes and you can't handshake after all that close contact, you know?
Yeah, so day 2 and day 3, no handshakes, no fist bumps, no hugging. After I'm just breathing in your face right now, trying to submit you or trying to pin you and stuff. So that was kind of funny. That was very interesting. The other interesting thing I thought was that I've gotten used to it because I watch like kickboxing, MMA and stuff. The empty crowds and only hearing the coaches shout out stuff or some people in the stands, because there wasn't a lot of people in the stands. Like, there was
their team members usually.
Yeah, there was a lot of team members, but I can't remember which. I think it was day 2. I think there was the most people in day 2 I saw in the stands. But yeah, you could hear them shouting, but it was like really quiet. And that was interesting watching that. You actually hear the coaches, and the refs are even hear the coaches more. I saw a lot of refs even more being like, Mate, look at the ref. I mean, look at the coach and be like, calm down, simmer down now. All right, calm down.
Because they can hear it now. Everything.
Yeah, they can hear it even more now. So that was kind of interesting. That was very interesting. There's another thing I was gonna talk about, something maybe come back to me. But did you notice that there was no main Asian squads out there?
Oh, Japan didn't send their squad because I think the Kodokan Cup is happening, or the All Japan Judo Championships is happening much later.
That's happening this week too. But you didn't see no one from Korea, no one from China, no North Korean players were out there at all. And the only Asian teams that were out there that I noticed was I saw some of the Filipino guys out there, and I guess
there were some Japanese people that are fighting for Philippines and Spain and all that kind of stuff. So I saw that. Yeah,
but there were some Filipino fighters out there. There's a Mongolian team out there, of course, but you didn't see like the main, like there was no Japan represented at all. They didn't even send like the B team out there or nothing. The juniors. No Japan, no China, no North, no South Korea, which I thought was interesting. It was mostly all the European countries, America. Some South American countries, but none of the big major Asian ones.
Yeah, Saeed Mulai was there, and he's fighting for Mongolia. I know he fought in a tournament for Mongolia before, but this is the first one I've seen, and he got a bronze medal. So
that was crazy. When they said his name for Mongolia, I was like, what's happening here? What's going on? Like, he's not Mongolian, but that happens sometimes,
Yeah, and Daria Below did surprise me with the move up to 57. Well, I expected it, but I didn't expect it to happen this soon. And I'm wondering if like the age is like making it hard to like, she was young before, but now she's getting older and maybe it's harder to get cut to that minus 48 kilo. And
it's also something that Neil Adams brought up that I noticed, but then I really started to notice after he brought up, was that you saw a lot of people's cardio was terrible this tournament. It was not like horrible, but you saw people like the first minute, 2 minutes are fighting hard, and then after that they'd just be like dragging out. There was one match that went like almost 8 minutes, and I felt so bad for them. They're just like trying, but there's nothing that's going to substitute doing actual judo training. There's nothing that's going to substitute doing real randori. You can lift weights, you can pull chikomi band, you can run as much as you want, but it's not going to be the same intensity that judo is, where we're using our entire body for quick bursts of energy and then we stop. Quick bursts of energy and then stop. So
you think she's gonna drop back down to 48 for Olympics? If there's Olympics going on next year.
Yeah. Well, if that's her best category to fight at, then yeah. I think everyone wants to fight at the best.
Well, I
don't know the personal issues, okay?
I personally
know she's eating tiramisu. All right.
I personally thought she was going to do 48 in the Olympics if it would have happened and moved up afterwards to 52. That's what I thought she would have done. But with COVID, it kind of screwed her plans over. So I don't know what the plan is, but maybe they're just testing the waters to see how she would fight up a weight class. She got third. So I was still surprised that after she moved up, she's still like one of the lankier, taller players. I expected that advantage to be less of a thing, but it seems like maybe she did get taller.
She had a growth spurt.
Well, Well, she's still young. You can still grow taller. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I know how you Beanstalk. When did you stop growing? All right. What
I
are you
stopped
like
growing
6'5" now?
16.
What?
I stopped growing when I was 16. But yeah, I've been wanting to see her fight Uta Abe
Mm,
and Bouchard, which I don't think happened. I don't think she got to fight Bouchard this tournament. Bouchard won the whole thing, if I remember correctly. But I want to see her fight Uta Abe. And if she moves up a weight class, that's great. I get to see that potentially. So
potentially. Well, at the Olympics, they might be separate. They'd probably be on separate brackets, I think, at the Olympics.
yeah, probably. That's
Be
what
on other
happened here.
sides.
They were on opposite sides, so they never met.
Yeah.
I think.
Mhm.
I need to go back and watch how Daria Bloated lost. Yeah.
So besides that, like there was a huge thing that, like I said, I didn't notice the Asian tournament, any of the Asian countries going there, but I did notice a shitload of Russians there. There were 4 all Russian finals, man. 4 all Russian finals. And almost in every category, there was a Russian fighting for like bronze or gold in almost every match. It was like Russians sent like, I don't know how many people, because the minimum is you have 2 people per weight class, but they sent like 3 per weight class or something. I don't know what. There are so many damn Russians out there.
I think these tournaments you can just go. You can just sign up for it, right?
Can you?
Yeah.
Huh. I know, because I know there's a thing where you can only send 2 per weight class.
That might be the case, huh?
Yeah. So I think they, like I said, I think they did send 2 for each weight class. So there was like just tons of Russians. There's 4 all Russian finals, which is really interesting. Another thing I noticed that what they're doing the rules is that they're being much more stricter. I noticed this time. They might have did it last year. Like I didn't watch a whole lot of tournaments last year. But I was going to watch this year, is that they're really now enforcing a no throwing off your back. If you do a tomonage, it has to be like a tomonage throw. You have to be throwing a person off the back. But if you're doing a throw and you roll to your back and then try to do like one of those like lazy reversals and be like, oh I threw the guy, that's a no-go this year. Like there's a couple throws during the tournament that I've noticing that people would be like those last second, like, oh no, it's a sacrifice. Like, no, sorry, you cannot throw off your back now. And I like that,
Yeah. There's one throw I saw that was in a highlight that I found questionable. Like, I need to probably ask the head referee here next time I get to see him. Someone went on their knees, and once someone gets on their knees or on the floor, you can't lift them up and throw them and have it called an ippon. It doesn't work. They have to stand up, right? So what I saw this guy do was grab his belt, lifted him up, and the guy briefly for like half a second stood on one foot, like wasn't on it didn't look like a stand, looked like a tap. And then he threw him. So it looked at first it looks like he just picked him up and threw him, but then if you look at the slow-mo, he stood up for like half a second on one foot, like, and then he threw him. And it seemed like not even any weight was on that foot. But
now I think I know which throw you're talking about. Like, he didn't even look like a judo throw. It just like he just manhandled him. Like it
looked like he just
picked him up and just tossed him over.
Yeah. I was surprised that was called an ippon. So
yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that, oh my God, like this the whole argument of, kokas, yokos, wazaris and stuff all being the same thing now. Like you don't get stuff for kokas anymore nowadays, but there's some throws that
there's some throws are definitely kokas and they get called wazari.
Yeah, like there were some throws at this tournament that I was like, that they did not land on the 45 end towards their back. They landed on the 45 end towards their belly, which when I did the reffing thing, this is a while ago now, like when I did the reffing classes, when I ref back in the day, it was if they're 45 towards the belly, it's nothing. It has to be 45. It has to break that 45 line. It has to break that halfway point towards their back for it to be a wazari, or directly on their side. And the whole elbow up down thing now rule. That's really confusing. But there's a lot of throws that like the guys were like almost on their belly and they'd be like, well, they're enough on their side. Wazari. I'm like, that's barely a koka. Come on.
Well, they have rolling wazaris now too, like, which is ridiculous, I think.
Yeah, but it was
you land on your belly and you get rolled over in one movement to your side.
It's the whole one movement. The whole thing. It's a continuous action, one movement. So it can't be ippon. It can't be no more rolling ippon, which I kind of don't like, because I like some rolling ippons because it shows like the driving force of it. But I get it. But then there's some really bad rolling wazaris now that like that's a rolling yuko, all right? It has a rolling koka.
Yep.
So that was really interesting. Another thing that I thought was kind of cool is that you saw Eliadis actually being the head coach this time, actually on the mat, coaching his guys, telling him what to do. That's like, oh, dude, he's in a suit. He's all dressed up and not in his gi. I don't like this. I'm not used to this. This is really weird for me.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that
What do you think about I mean, this isn't a new thing for this tournament, but it's relatively new about how they making the athletes constantly fix their gis now and without being asked.
I think it should be done, because you get the whole thing, you get the whole thing where back in the day, you get guys that would cheat, you'll do like little cheats. They'll be like, okay, Hajime. And the first thing they do, they start untucking their gi. They start pulling it out. And when I first started doing judo, I'll see guys doing that. And to me, I was like, oh, what's the big deal about it? It's not like, who cares? Like, whatever, I'm grabbing gi anyway.
So you think it's an advantage to pull your gi out? That's what
I totally think it is. I learned from that when someone pulls their gi out, now they're almost a foot away from you. Even if I grab the gi, instead of being like just half a foot or a few inches away from you, if I grab the gi and the gi's pulled out, that's like a foot to 2 feet of me still having to wrap a person in. And as someone said, it's like pulling a sail at that point.
See, that's so far away. Interesting that you say that, because before they initiated this rule, a lot of the Japanese athletes would be really OCD about fixing their gis, even before before the rule change, and they would already do it. So I think they think it's a disadvantage to have your gi out. That's what I think. And
well, I think it
especially
might be more just,
you know who Keenan is in BJJ. Like he's the guy who developed like a system to play the lapel basically. So I feel like there's a lot of people out there that was exploiting that, you're exploiting your gi being out and using that rope, like the whole gi being out to do crazy throws. And I saw some of that, and I feel like that's what I think is a disadvantage to have your gi out personally.
Well, it depends. Well, with me with that, it's like for most people, they're not going to know how to do things with the gi being out, they're not, because they don't train that way. They train traditional, your gi's tucked in and stuff. When you do rondor, it falls out a little bit, but people tend to tuck their gi in. I think the Japanese, just the way that they're trained, the way they're taught, just traditional, you're like, I guess more respectful, I guess I'd say maybe, that you always have your gi tucked in. Where if I see guys with the gis tucked out, there are certain things that I saw, like, this is way back in the day, I can't remember which of the Olympics it was, where there was a time where someone had their gi out and the person grabbed their open gi and wrapped it around the other person's arm. They wrapped it around.
Might be a safety thing.
Yeah, where they think they wrapped it around the arm, grabbed it, so now your arm is trapped into your body. And they went, I can't remember if it was like Osotogari or like a drop sonagi or something from there, but it was like some really cool throw. And I was like, oh, that's badass. And I do it sometimes at judo practice and play with it. But the thing where you have to know that, though, you have to know it and practice it.
I think
I don't think most people are doing it.
Right before the rule change, I saw a lot of those crazy throws, and I think the IJF wanted to curb that. That's why I think they changed the rules personally. But
yeah. So when I first saw the whole gi thing back when I was like a white belt or early brown belt, and I was like, why do they have their gi out like that? What's the point of that? Because I see guys undo it. And I can't remember which thing was at a coaching clinic. One of the coaches told me, like, oh, it's because like it's pulling a sail. They're so far away from you. You grab them and you pull them, and they're still like another foot or 2 feet away from you because their gi's now halfway off their body.
The way I see it is now it's easier for me to grab. There's something else that's hanging out for me to grab.
Well, there's an old school throw that people don't do that much, where you grab both tail ends of the gi and you do a Murota Seonagi or a Taitoshi from there. And it's just like their heads going straight into the mat if they don't know what's coming.
When I used to fight, I love when that gi is out. I love grabbing it with my right hand, passing it to my left, and yank it closer to get the high collar grip that way.
Well, you can.
People usually guard. They usually guard up here. They don't really guard below, like their skirt, right? But if that skirt is hanging out, you could go low and grab it. So
yeah, or you do that same setup you just did right now. Same when you do, but instead of going for the collar, you go and grab the back of their belt, grab the back of them, and go straight into ogoshi from right there.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting thing that happened in this tournament. Is like I thought it looked like it was ran well to me. I didn't see any problems really, except for the entire Italian team being.
There's some audio problems with the commentating. It sounded like they're not. Some of the commentators aren't local, like they aren't there to doing it remotely. That's kind of what it sounded like, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess so. Like the one that I came up, it was in English and Hungarian. I think that was the two languages you could pick.
I did notice there was an uptick in live viewers, and also on Reddit, there was more people talking about it. And I think it's just because people are so deprived of judo right now.
They just miss it so much. A little funny thing that I saw that I noticed, that's another thing to me, is that whoever the IJF DJ is finally got some new music. All right. Cause he's been doing the same damn song for like almost 10 years now.
They probably contracted someone else.
You got to contract somebody else because they're actually playing new music now in between. It's not the same DJ disco music they've been playing the past 4 years.
Well,
And
they
I guess
probably
this
paid the rights for it, so they may as well maximize it, right?
well, I think they got the rights because they started playing Game of Thrones now, and they're playing it. I was like, man, this is some really epic music they're playing in between these matches.
I
What are they
actually
like?
heard that in Tokyo.
Oh,
When I
did
was
you?
there.
They
Yeah,
actually played some
they
Game of
played it in
Thrones.
Tokyo. Yeah.
And I'm a bad American because as soon as I hear that song, all I think is the South Park version. It's all I think about.
So the All Japan Judo Cup, the Kodokan Cup, also happened recently. I think last weekend. I watched a couple of days of it. This is the first time they're live streaming it, by the way, on the internet.
Oh, you're
I've
a good
been
live stream. Like I
they
caught
live
some
streamed
highlights
it.
on Instagram. I didn't get to watch it at
No, they
all.
live stream in the past. I've been trying to find a way to watch it, and the only way you can watch it is on if you have Japanese television, and it will be Japanese
Mhm.
coverage. So I actually watched it one time when I was in Japan, during November, like this time frame. So it wasn't this trip, but it was like a trip from years ago. So I watched that on TV before, but the quality of the stream was disappointing. There's no coverage.
Mhm.
The quality was crap. I can't even see.
So you mean so there's no announcing then? It's just
There's
the
no
matches.
announcing. It's just a person on each mat. There's four cameras for four mats, and they just have a
Mhm.
cameraman following them. But the resolution's fuzzy. Yeah, it's just overall not a very good. I mean, it's passable, but
Mhm.
it's not the quality I expect for compared to what I saw on TV. And then what happens is they cut it off right before the final block.
Really? Was
Yeah,
it
so
like
you have
only so the finals are only on broadcast then? They're only for
so
Japan.
from my limited Japanese understanding, I was trying to read it. It seemed like they said you have to watch it on NHK BS, which is broadcasting. I don't know.
Hey, NHK
Yeah.
ain't BS, all right. NHK is a very good channel.
No, they have
all right? It's not
they have like
BS.
satellite cable, and then like I don't remember. It's even the remotes have like different buttons, but they're broadcasting on NHK basically. So I guess that's what I watched in Japan, and that quality was higher with commentating and like the score up, and they tell you about the techniques and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't watched any of the finals. They said on their Twitter, they said they'll upload it afterwards. So I'm gonna go
To what?
after
To their YouTube channel?
to their
Or
YouTube
to
channel. It's the All Japan Judo Federation. I'll put it in the description later.
All
The
right, cool.
AJJF has
Yeah.
a YouTube channel.
I didn't know that. Well, everybody has a damn YouTube channel now, it seems.
Yeah, it's just not. When you talk about Japan, everybody thinks about Gundams and robots and everything, right? So they think everything's like super advanced,
High
but,
technology, yeah.
yeah. But their websites, if you go to any Japanese websites, they're usually all really crowded and not very well designed.
Oh, I know. My wife's homepage that she uses to read Japanese news. I cannot read that shit. It's just line. Just that's all this stuff. And I'm just like, how can you read this? Like, what do you know? It's like, oh, well, this is to that link. This is to this link. This is going to talk about this article.
There's a blog that I follow of a person that lives in Japan, and he actually wrote an article about why Japanese web design and user interface design is the way it is. Has to do with it. It's really interesting. I'll link that too. But anyway, they're still using fax machines up till recently. Like Japan has a very traditional conservative mindset of if nothing's broken, don't.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah.
So I'm surprised. This is why like they didn't have a live stream before. They should have had a live stream of this stuff years ago, right? But now they have a live stream on YouTube, and it's not that good quality. So it could be due to the stuff like that. But yeah, so go check it out.
So Jimmy Pedro announced. When did he announce it? How many days ago was it now?
It was on his birthday. It was like 2 days. Was it 2 days ago?
So what? Happy birthday, Jimmy Pedro. Happy 50th anniversary. Happy 50th birthday anniversary. Happy 50th birthday. Hope you had a happy day. Happy COVID birthday. Yeah. Happy welcome to the COVID birthday club, brother. Yep. So Jimmy Pedro announced that he's going to start the American Judo System. And if you're wondering what the American Judo System, it is almost the exact same thing or very similar to the thing that Travis Stevens announced a couple months ago, which was the, what was that called, Anthony? Do you remember what it was called?
I don't remember, but he's been having YouTube talks about how he would monetize, how he would use the business side to fund the athletes and coaches and stuff. So this is like similar to what he's been talking about.
Yeah, it's after I looked into and read it, it sounded like the exact same thing that Travis was talking about, and they're business partners anyway. So it's probably the same thing. They decided to come up with a new name. It was called like the American Judo Association. I don't know.
American Judo System. That's
yeah, but that's what they
gave a name to it.
Yeah, but that's what they're calling it, the American Judo System. And what they've done is that They've opened up a Facebook account, an Instagram account, and they said a YouTube account, but I could not find a YouTube account. If you guys find it, great. I try to look for it.
Send it to you.
Did you? Okay, great.
Yeah.
It's actually funny.
There's nothing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, our stuff came up actually when I was looking for it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh, because I subscribed us to it.
Did you? All right, great, fantastic. We're subscribed to it. Excellent. But basically it's the same stuff that if you've been listening to Travis Stevens talk lately, it's the same stuff. They want to monetize judo to make judo more profitable. They want to make judo so you can open up dojos, make classes, even make your own coaching system
properly.
Yeah, fund the athletes, make a proper coaching system so everyone can be certified. But the thing is that they've done all this stuff, and guess what website they took, or what
USA
name they took for the website? They took the name usajudo.com. And I went to the website to look it up, and there's really nothing there. It's just a page, it's an email, and they'll give you more information later when they start doing things. But then when I tried looking up USA Judo as an American Judo Federation, even usajudo.org wasn't working right. It kept sending me to USA Athletes, the Olympic athletes page of USA Judo. And I don't know what's going on here. I think it's a coup.
If you check Judo Inside, they had the judoinside.com, which they had, where everyone should go read the interview they had with Jimmy Pedro on this. The first question they asked him was, why did you pick USA Judo .com? This is his answer. The USAjudo.com URL was available for sale, and we made a bid for it because we thought it was a valuable web address to have. And we decided to use it for an American Judo System. USA Judo, the governing body, does not own that URL and has nothing to do with our website. So he kind of skirted the question, but at the same time, he's just kind of like, I live in USA and I'm teaching an American Judo System, so
dude,
it was available.
Dude, if it ain't shot fired right now, shots fired, bro. Shots fired, incoming, man. Because one, I think it's crazy enough that USA Judo did not think about updating the URL, owning it. That's just nuts. When I hear about
more than competence we're talking about, right?
Yeah, but it's when I hear about any company or government organization or thing that has a URL that they don't own it or don't keep up the payments for it, I think that's crazy. You know, it's like back in the day how UFC had to buy UFC.com from this guy, because back when UFC 1 first started, he made UFC.com. And when UFC was first bought by Zuffa, they had to do UFC.tv till they could buy UFC.com from that guy. So, but USA Judo not owning USAjudo.com is just nuts to me. And I understand if they go by if they go by USAjudo.org, since they're a government organization, I get that. But it's just one of those things where like, oh, let me sign up for my new classes or sign up for my renew my membership, do all this stuff. And you go there.
It's because they're cutting costs, because they basically piggyback off of the U.S. Olympic team website, like teamusa.com. They piggyback off it. So they probably just like outsource it to them to handle the site and everything, so that they don't have to deal with that, which makes me wonder if they have like a CTO kind of position or like a tech lead kind of guy.
Are you looking for something?
I don't know if I would leave my day job for it, but yeah, they probably should have a position like that where they would avoid these kind of mistakes, right?
Because this is crazy, man. This is like underhanded shit. I love it. I love it though.
They can always, I mean, USA Judo is a brand name, so they can technically litigate to, it's called cyber squat. It's called cyber squatting. You basically buy up domain names and then you sit there and try and extort money out of people. That's called cyber squatting. I've heard of it. Yeah,
I've heard people buy like the .com, the .org, the .tv, the .gov, the .whatever else they have out there now.
Well, the funniest thing is if you go to Nissan.com, like it doesn't go to the car website. It's like this guy who's just trying to screw Nissan Motors over. Like it's been there for almost close to a decade now. So at least
what was it, like Nissan.gov or something or Nissan.org?
Nissan.com, but. I think if you want to go to the actual Nissan car website, it's nissanmotors.com or something like that. Because I think the guy was like trying to extort some crazy amount of money from Nissan. They're just kind of told him to go pound sand. So with that said, I also want to mention the IJF, we're kind of getting sidetracked, but the IJF website, the live.ijf.org, they updated it. You have to sign up for an account now, but you can watch the live stream of the tournaments there. And remember why I talked about the app and the website and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Right after that episode, I went on the site and they tell you the brackets and when the match is about to be streamed, and it'll show you the results, and you can just click the results and it'll link you to the video, and it has timestamps where from most of the videos they have a timestamp of when the ippon happens in that video clip.
Wow.
Yeah, so IGF is it's kind of buggy still, but I'm giving them it's really good. So check it out if you guys haven't checked it out.
To us, you know what that means? They're listening to us. Okay, so someone on their thing is listening to our shows.
I remember when the guy that works on that site used to went on Reddit and was like, "Hey, check it out, live.igf.org," and I checked it out and I was like, "This is still like not very good." But now it's like a year later, and I'm just like, "Wow, this is actually something that I would use," you know. So yeah, why maybe the USA Judo can buy or rent or get some sort of licensing deal to use this technology at their tournaments. So
that'd be great if they did that. But another sidetrack off getting off the American Judo System, but it came to our attention. Someone told us that someone is developing some sort of bracket system for tournaments and all that here in LA. So
yeah, the guy I was thinking about was from Texas. So I guess there's multiple people working on it.
Yeah, so there's someone actually in LA that's at one of the local dojos that's working on it also. Let's see what happens. But judo needs it, you know, and they shouldn't make it I know people want to make it for profit, you know, they want to make some money off it, but come on, this is judo. We need help, guys. Like, the more we can make judo more efficient and more streamlined and more effective, the better, and more customers, more people will get in judo. Because that's one of the biggest things about complaining is that people want to go compete, but then they go and it's just a terrible experience for most people.
That's in open source software. There's licenses where you can be like, you can use this for free as long as you don't make money out of it. Or you can put it in the model to be like, you can use it for free, but if you make money out of it, you got to pay me this much percent. Well, like I don't there's ways around it, but back to
the American Judo System. So when they were talking about this, they were talking about how like the URL was open, they decided to take it. I had trouble trying to find their Facebook page. If you want to look at their Facebook, it's just American Judo. If you want to look up on their Instagram, it's also American Judo. Anthony said he found the YouTube, so maybe you guys can find it also. But what Jimmy says that he wanted to make videos that's going to have good basic techniques for people to work on, teach it a good basic simple way, because with the interview he also said that he sees a lot of American players have very bad technique, and when he goes to coach them, he'll talk to them about things and they can't do it. And he's hoping to do with this is just to make an American Judo system so that we all have the same curriculum. So we all follow the same rules. We all learn the same way. And I get it. I like it. I like having something similar to that.
So to me, this is like, remember we talked about the AJDM and how it's missing a lot of stuff. So this fills in a lot of the stuff that I said was missing from the AJDM. And I mean, every dojo now has their own way of teaching. And I can see people like wanting to keep that. Like, I want to do things my way has always worked for me. Like, but this is valuable to, let's say, a brown belt out in middle nowhere Iowa who wants to start a dojo or a small club in the community center. This is useful for them on a proven system on how to teach people the fundamentals and everything. Plus they're doing online video ranking. Like, so I might not be qualified to rank someone, but if I record someone doing techniques from different angles and then mail it to Jimmy Pedro, then he can be like, yeah, that looks good. Like, I think he deserves a yellow belt or a green belt or a black belt, you know. Versus right now, one way you get promoted to the Dan rank is I got these competition points, but you could have fought the same guy at your local tournament best of 3 like for 2 years straight, you know. Like, you keep
beating the same guy every 6 months.
Yeah, so the quality control is not there, I feel like. So I'm not saying it's bad. I think this is not a replacement for the system we have now, but it will coincide with it and help judo grow, and it's a good thing. And I mean, like most people say, competition is a good thing, right?
Well, one of the other things he was talking about was that he wanted to teach people how to open up their own dojos and open up their own gyms, and with doing that they're going to help them to become profitable. And it's just one thing that Travis actually said during his interview was like, he's going to teach you how to teach a student to take over that dojo for you. So it becomes, I guess, like a franchise, maybe.
It's total. I mean, Travis Stevens race at BJJ does this, and that's they're pulling the Gracie Baja and the affiliate model from BJJ, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing. And just because you're good at judo doesn't necessarily mean you're a good business person. And
Well, just because you're good
people
at judo
kind of
doesn't mean you're.
conflate it. Yeah.
Well, no, it's the same thing. Like just because you're a good judo player doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach. You know,
Yeah.
some guys
So
are just good at training.
Yeah. So I think this is kind of needed, like some out of the box ideas. I do have problems with some of the stuff that Travis said, like that I disagree with, but I think the benefit outweighs the cons right now, given how dire I believe the situation in America
Well,
is.
if
So
we want to grow judo in America, we need to do something like this or similar to this to help it grow and become better. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine about this, and he said, you know, it's very interesting because how we say that USA Judo doesn't support their players enough. And you know, USA Judo should be supporting them by like having them go into more clinics together, coaching together and stuff, going to tournaments, supporting them going to tournaments, like help paying for them to go. So not like looking for sponsors, looking for angels, or doing like more clinics on their own. Like, oh, I'm holding this clinic here. Hopefully people come and I can pay for this tournament. It's actually a friend of mine said what they should do is, and it's kind of interesting, is that we need to get judo more in colleges so that the college system grows judo and helps judo become better.
Well, even people keep pointing at wrestling, but even a lot of schools are cutting wrestling programs right now if they're not making money.
Well, the whole thing with the wrestling program is that it's high insurance, but it's low. It's not getting much return because it's not a popular sport. You know, it's not like a football. We have like a stadium full of people, or basketball, a court full of people. Like some wrestling tournaments will have like big things, but I think we would need to focus more on what in wrestling is called dual meets, and that's when one school faces another school. So I think maybe colleges, I'm not saying colleges should, but it'd be interesting if they made that more popular to bring more attention to judo. Because people love MMA, people love kickboxing, people love grappling. But I think if we just advertise it more, it'll do better. But the whole thing of like advertising again.
We need more adult practitioners first. Like, imagine right now, think about how many adults on average are in each dojo, and then imagine you having an inter-dojo tournament, like how that would look. Like, I don't think it would be very spectacular. I just put it that way.
Well, we tried doing that here. We were supposed to do something like that here in Southern California with Nanka, where we were going to do team tournaments of like our dojo faces another dojo. But again, like some schools couldn't fill whole squads, and it's like the whole thing of like, oh, well, let's mark a Saturday here or Sunday here. We were supposed to do something like that. It sounded like great, like sounded like a lot of fun. Everybody liked it until they got to the part of like, everyone got to the part of having to pick a team and having to pick guys to do it. It's like, oh, okay, I need everybody here on this Saturday. Oh, Sensei, I'm sorry, I have plans that day already.
Yeah, something to talk. But again, back to the model.
Yeah.
I think teaching people how to open dojos, run dojos, is a good thing. Because I mean, personally, I have no interest in starting a dojo. But if I were to start it, I don't want to build a website. I know how to do it, but I don't want to maintain it. I have better stuff to do. But if they're charging a monthly fee and they give you like they'll host a website for you, and you just kind of go in a control panel and model, kind of like Squarespace. I don't know if you ever use Squarespace, but you just go on and enter your dojo info and everything, and they offload a lot of these upfront costs and efforts. Then it'll make it a lot easier, and the barrier of entry to starting a club lower, and they'll help you advertise maybe, and tell you how to advertise, target advertisements and stuff. Then yeah, that's gonna help a lot, I think.
Yeah, like I like the idea. I really do like it a lot, you know. Just helping people. I like them putting up videos of showing like, this is how we do it. This is how we're gonna do the American basic Ippon Seonagi, you know, the American basic Tomonagi from right here. I like that. I like how they're gonna put up videos of how to coach, you know, because it's not just teaching the technique, but it's also how you talk to people, how to work with people and stuff. So if you see someone that's doing a technique wrong or doing a technique right, like how to culture that to help them become better. And I'm really interested in this. I really want to see change, you know, and you have to light a fire under like USA Judo's ass or USJF or USJA. If this is what's going to take to make change, then let's do it, you know, because Jimmy was saying that he offered to do this to USA Judo. And they're like, no, it's too expensive. Or they didn't answer him. And then Travis Stevens said the same thing. He offered to do this also for, I think, even a cheaper rate.
Yeah. On the other, I've heard a different story from the other side, but let's not get into the he said like the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but
of course it's in the middle.
Yeah.
There's no black or right. It's always gray. All right. So everything's shades of gray.
Yep.
But I still think it's like, it blows my mind that we don't have a real head coach. You know, it blows my mind that we have a Team USA and everyone trains at their own location, at their own place. You know, they train with Jimmy, or they train in San Jose or San Diego, or they have their own home dojo somewhere.
So let me ask you this: do you think he's trying to start his own federation? Like,
It's
this is
really
one
tough.
a lot of people I've spoken to so far
Mhm.
thinks he's like moving towards, this is the pivoting towards starting his own federation. And I think personally, I think that's an option he has on the table, but he's kind of like, in a way, lighting a fire under the rest of the organizations to actually do something now.
To get some change.
Yeah.
No, but I did, like, when you told me this, when you first sent this to me, I was like, holy shit, shots fired. Oh my God, it's a revolution, it's a judo revolution in America. You know, that's the first thing I thought when I first read, when you sent me that, I read the article, then I started looking up other stuff about it to come up. And the only thing I come up with a lot of Travis Stevens things. And it sounded like, man, this is like almost them trying to start their own federation. But the whole thing with that is that if they start their own federation, it's going to be very hard to get past USA Judo, because USA Judo is the one that's directly in contact with IGF. Okay. And if they could somehow get in contact or become IGF's main federation in America, then yes, they could do it. But as long as there's USA Judo only, the IGF only conducts business with the if IGF only conducts business with USA Judo, then they can't.
Yeah. So this is, I see it as him starting to try an affiliate system. Kind of like BJJ, because you know, like Alliance, Cobrinha, Gracie Baja, you don't call them national organizations, you just call them an affiliate, like, right, like kind of like a franchise.
I don't know, I'm not a BJJ guy. I don't
you
know
call it, it's like McDonald's. You want to open McDonald's, you pay a franchise fee and you open McDonald's. But IBJJF is a national organization, right? Just like IJF, just like USA Judo. So I think this is a little different from what people are saying. Oh, Jimmy Pedro is going to start his own national organization body. I don't think that's it. And I honestly don't think it benefits him in any way, because if assuming his goal is to open more dojos and clubs in America and to have funding for athletes, starting a national organization is just going to burn more money away from that. So,
well, no, his goal that him and Travis Stevens always talk about is what is this project 2024. Okay, that was their goal. Or 2020, was it 2022? Was that the goal?
2020. Well, it's 2024, but then Paris got it, and so now it's 2028.
Okay, so yeah, I was going to talk about that right now. Jumping the gun, Anthony here. Okay, so their goal was Project 2024, and Project 2024 is that when the USA was hopefully going to get the Olympics of 2024, was to take a dominant, strong American team. They're going to start now looking for the best juniors, the best cadets that they think will have a chance at the Olympics, and to train them hard and to prove their system works. It's just like any coaching system. You want to find the best athletes to give the best results. And I think that's what the goal is. So now that it's going to be 2028 now, since that's when we get the LA Olympics, which you and me will be at, maybe do some live coverage then or something if we're still around then. But is the goal is that to have a dominant team when the Olympics are here in the US. And in that interview that he did, he asked him, well, how do you think the American team is doing right now? How do you think they can do in team? He's like, flat out, I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're going to train hard enough. I don't think they're going to do well internationally. And I don't know if he's saying that just to prove a point or to talk shit. Who knows? You know, I don't know his mindset. I don't know what he thinks. But his goal was to make a dominant team for the next Olympics when they're in the US. So his thing right now with this American Judo System is to start teaching that young kid now, or start teaching that preteen right now to get ready for that time. So that when that time comes and he sees, oh, these are the top junior athletes, or these are the top like senior athletes right now that are doing well in USA Nationals, or like any nationals, winter nationals, summer nationals, USA Nationals, or whatever, that going to the Pan Ams and stuff. These are the guys I'm gonna take under my wing and create my dominant team with. Well,
everyone
do that. Yeah,
everyone's already said that the biggest problem facing American Judo is money. Like these athletes don't have money to travel abroad to compete, And
Mhm.
I mean, everyone says this. How do you get better at competing? After a certain point of training and doing randori, the only way you can get better at competing is just to compete more, right?
Yeah.
This universally agreed. You just have to compete
Mhm.
more. So I think he's trying to solve this money funding issue for the athletes and the coaches versus Project 2024. It was identifying the potential, but then where's the money still coming from? You know, you
Mhm.
still need the money to send these athletes and coaches abroad
Mhm.
to compete where because we don't have that level of judo here locally.
Well, it's like guys, like an Ajax interview that he did. It's the same thing that Travis Stevens was saying, is that USA Judo does not support the athletes enough. Buying mats, paying for certain dojos and stuff does not help. What helps is paying for the members to go to tournaments, paying for Paris,
Yep.
paying for Great Britain, paying for Japan, paying for them to go there. There was an interview that Travis did a long time ago saying that to get better, he had to pay for himself to go train in France for a while. He had to pay for himself to go to Japan to go train at the Kodokan or go train at Tokai University. He did all that out of his own pocket because he wanted to become better.
Yep.
Did USA Judo pay for that? No.
They gave him some stipend. It was a little bit
stipend. What you're paying for his food or something? They should be paying for these athletes to go out there and train. If not,
I'll go ahead.
or at least taking a lion's share of what it cost. You know, if you want to see results, you're gonna have to give some money to them to do it.
Another important point I want to bring up is just the healthcare system here. Like getting hurt is expensive here.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that in itself is already a disincentive for a lot of people to even start judo. Now you have these highly competitive athletes who need money to travel abroad and they get hurt and they got to pay it out their own pocket mostly, some to a certain degree because insurance doesn't cover everything.
Yeah.
These are all, and also when you get hurt, it probably means you can't work that part-time job to pay for all this stuff, and you've got to focus on physical therapy, which costs money too. Like there's all these things that just are problems. Again, money is the problem. At this point, I personally think if they realistically want to get a medal in 2028, they should just do what other countries are doing, just like get the B and C tier of like Japanese and Russian athletes.
Oh my god! Like, import other players from other countries.
I mean, Canada did it to a certain extent. Like people like to say, "Oh, Canada just basically got Chris Taguchi and paid their word to it," but at the same time, they're doing pretty well in the other weight classes and other like the male division too. They're winning medals.
Well, they did well at Budapest. They had a lot of their guys in the finals. You know.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I mean, I don't know if you remember when I took the Nicholas Gill clinic. He's the head coach for the Canadian team. A lot of questions from other people that were there were basically like, how did you transform Canadian judo to what it is right now? And what do you think the USA can do? Like, do we have a chance to? And he basically said, we have a chance to do it, but we have to like do it now. This is like 2 years ago. So you have to do it now, and it's a structural change. It isn't like these like small changes that these organizations have been doing. He believes you need to revamp the whole structure, and you need more money. And he said when Judo Canada came to him was like, what we want a medal, what is it going to take? And he said he basically said double everything, double the budget, double the athletes that are being paid. Like, so you have like the first string and the second string, so double the first string amount, and they should be getting paid full time to train.
Yes.
Double the B tier second string athletes, and those are the people that are helping the first tier getting better.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you need this whole system, and he centralized the training in Montreal. That's where the Olympic Judo Training Center is. So if you're an athlete on the first string team, you have to live there and training full time. That's your thing. So, and that gave them results. So
that's one thing. Like, I know America's huge. I know we're a big country. And I know people don't want to leave their homes and stuff. But if you're on the U.S. team, there should be a centralized dojo, a training center somewhere. Whether it's Denver, whether it's somewhere.
Well, for a while, it was San Jose State.
Well, it was San Jose State for a while.
Yeah,
it was. You know, growing up being in the Bay, like you'd always hear about that stuff. but they need to keep that because it is steel sharpens steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron, all that stuff. Like, yeah, the best have to train with the best to get better. That's just how it has to be. And right now it's spread out with people training in San Diego, people training in San Jose, people training in the East Coast, wherever they're training at in Texas. It's not working right now. You know, we're not doing that well. If we want to get better, if we want to like look at when Jimmy Pedro had all his guys training with him, look at what happened. We got silver medals, we got gold medals, we got bronze medals. We had them training with him. Now that everybody's spread out, now that we lost that centralized training camp, that just that place that everybody train at, we're not seeing any results right now.
It's funny that you said that because I was reading on Reddit and someone's like, Jimmy Pedro's not, he's probably not good at teaching other coaches. I know other coaches that are better than Jimmy Pedro. They should really look for someone outside of the U.S. And I was just like, okay, like training all these Olympic medalists apparently doesn't mean anything. But
well, that's the thing. Like I can't remember where I heard it at or something. It was somewhere, but it was like everyone thinks the excuse is, oh, get a Japanese coach. You know, get a Japanese coach in your system. Get a French coach in your system. Get someone as an ex-French team member or an ex-Japanese team member and bring them over and they'll coach you guys. It's not that. Like Americans we're stubborn, dumb people that want to do stuff our way only. So you need an American to do it.
I don't want death threats.
No, hey, I love us. Okay, I love America, but I'm saying the most of the time we're stubborn. We want to do things our way. We want to do things the way we do it. And you bring someone that has a different cultural system, and they bring it in. Some people aren't going to adapt to it. Some people aren't going to like it. Some people aren't going to be interested in training that way.
I was talking to Johnny, and he was like, "We got the Mongolian gold medalist here. We got Israel Hernandez. We got who else do we have? Oh, I forgot his name." We have a lot of people here from abroad that are accomplished competitors, but they haven't outside of Israel Hernandez. I'm not going to talk about that, but they haven't really coached the national team. Why hasn't USA Judo reached out to see if like that would have been a good fit? Like at least give it a try, you know? So I don't know, all these questions.
Well, it's a whole thing of like, yeah, they'll set up their dojo there, but we don't have a centralized place, you know?
Yeah.
It's not all the American team has to go to Denver. You know, the Olympic training facility in America is in Denver, okay? The Mile High City, where any Americans on the Olympic team or national team can go train there, but they don't force them to go there. Like I said, people always train all over the place. But if they had a thing where they all trained all together, like what Jimmy had back in the day, he had these top competitors all training with him at his central location. They got better. They got medals. So that's just my thing.
You know how above our dojo there's those classrooms?
Yeah.
And a shower.
And a shower. What is it? And a shower. What is it? They have classrooms and a shower.
Yeah, we can. Who doesn't want to live in LA? Let's just get them all to train in LA and live dorm above our dojo and.
I just make Philippe the coach or something.
No, just rent the facility out to them.
Oh,
I mean, even let them use it for free. I'd like to train with top caliber athletes.
It'd be great to train top caliber athletes like that. So yeah, I'm really interested in the American Judo System. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen, what's going to come of it.
Yeah, it's all he's advertising it as this all these, like I said, it fills in all these gaps that we were talking about. But
yeah,
until we see the product, we'll have to reserve our judgment, even though we're excited. So
yeah, but I'm excited. I'm on the Facebook already. I'm on Instagram. I'll soon be on the YouTube. But yeah, we'll see how this turns out. So,
yep.
So Anthony, is there anything else you want to talk about today?
Yeah, I do. There's one more thing I want to talk about is I shared it on my Instagram already, but there's a Judo Webtoon. I don't know if you guys aren't familiar with Webtoon. It's like a comic site. And I'm not going to get into the whole business model of it, but basically there's this person called True posted on Reddit and shared her, I think it's a her, sorry if I got it wrong, but shared her webtoon on judo. She wrote a webtoon on judo basically. And for the longest time I've been saying we need more judo mangas, we need more judo anime. And apparently there are judo mangas out there. I just didn't know it's Japanese, but it's great. It's called The Gentle Way. I think Instagram was the.gentle.way, and you can look up The Gentle Way on Webtoons on Google and you'll find it. And it's a romance kind of story. Like this showed like the style is targeted towards women basically, but I was interested in it. And following her on Instagram seemed like it got a few people interested in judo. Like they're saying after reading this, I want to try judo. I want to learn more about judo. So even if webtoons aren't or comics aren't a thing, go ahead and share that. Tell your kids or your kids, and that's how you're going to help spread judo, right? Like, just tell the person you tell might not be interested in it, but person they tell might be. So,
yeah, spread the word, please.
Yeah, we need to think more outside the box. So,
yeah. So when you guys see someone being thrown, remember judo. All right, spread the word, spread the judo word. All right. So is that it, Anthony? Is that anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to talk about?
I think that's it.
All right.
That was a long episode, but we had a lot of constructive discussions, I think.
All right, everybody. So please like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, you can drop it at me. You can drop it at Anthony. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at _Juan at Instagram. You can follow Anthony on Instagram at Anthony Throws. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Send us any feedback. If you have any questions, hit us up. All right.
You should change your Instagram to Juan Throws, just so it's
Juan Throws. Juan Throws
or Juan Wick.
Juan Wick. John. I've been trying to get that hashtag over right now.
Need something that's easier to remember.
The _Juan. Well, my nickname was the Great Juan for the longest time. Juan, of course. So, I've been using that since high school as my nickname. The _Juan.
Juan Wick something.
Maybe later. All right.
See you guys.
All right. Peace out.